Welcome everyone. My name is Dikran and I am the co-host of TED Podcast and I'm joined today by Hagop Ipcan. Today we are fortunate enough to have Sevan Kabakian, the country director of Birthright Armenia, joining us on this podcast. We're very excited. We feel like it's very symbolic at the same time to have him here today with us. I'll pass it along to Hagop before getting into some of the questions that we have today for Sevan.
Arab Polorin. Dikran, thank you very much. Thank you everyone for joining us. As Dikran just mentioned, we've got Sevan Kabakian, originally from Lebanon.
True.
Now in Armenia, director of Birthright. And we'll ask him a few questions today. We want to find out more about Sevan, about Birthright, and his experience in Armenia. Thank you, Sevan, for being here. Please.
But wait, I wanna make it. I wanna stress that Sevan is one of our first guests, intentionally because I'm a Birthright alumni, 2016, where I lived in Armenia for about 6 months, and we felt it was very important to have Sevan as one of our first guests because Hagop and myself right now currently reside in Armenia. We've taken an example such as yours and many others who have taken that step and have moved to Armenia, and we felt it was very important to bring someone who could discuss more about that opportunity, that bridge, and that experience to make it very real to our listeners. So I think it's important to start with, in a quick few words, Sevan, what brought you to Armenia?
An airplane, Lufthansa flight one way. People said, was it difficult to move to Armenia? I said, no, we just bought a ticket. We got on the airplane brought us. So it was very, very easy.
Was it a direct flight or?
No, stopover, no direct flights yet from Los Angeles. One-way ticket to Armenia 19 years ago. And my 3 very young daughters, my wife, the only person that we knew in Armenia at that time was a good friend of ours, very good friend. The only person that we knew, he was the one who greeted us at the airport. The only familiar face.
Or?
Unfortunately, he passed away. Yeah. But when we saw his face, a familiar face at 4 a.m. in the morning, tired, kids behaved very well on the flight. But it was good to see a very familiar face, a good friend. We didn't know anyone else. Over the years, we formed our community. I didn't know my work colleagues at that time. I met them for the first time here. And as much as it seems to be this kind of impossible, why would you do that? Why would you leave your entire family, my wife's family, our relatives, our work, our house, our environment, our comfort zone? Why would we leave and come over here to a country where you know no one? And the reality is that here we didn't know no one. We didn't know anyone intimately except for my friend. But we came to where 3 million of our people lived. So we didn't come to a foreign land. We came to Hayastan.
So it was work or what was it?
No, it wasn't work. It was the decision to come to Armenia, to be part of this country's every day. Challenges, problems, difficulties, potential, growth, development, all sides, all aspects. Work, of course, is important to have. Work was important in Los Angeles. Work is important in Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
So work was important to have. But it wasn't someone making me an offer for a job and I said, okay, let's move to Armenia. It was a process that was brewing in our minds for many, many years. My first time in Armenia was during the Soviet times. They brought us to Camp Ardik Jambar in Vanadzor as teenagers. That was my first grounding in Armenia as a real country. So the process of moving to Armenia was always in our minds. And fortunately, my wife was a partner in that sense as well, because we were always feeling and thinking together as we were growing in Los Angeles, as we were living in Los Angeles. And to this day, we're always, we're still together in our mindsets. And so coming to Armenia, in a way, was an adventure out of our comfort zone, but in a way, it was a very real and very practical move.
Mhm.
And if at that time we had no data of what it was going to be like, it was a vision. Now we have 19 years of data, which only reinforces.
So it was a family decision, everyone agreed to it, and, you know.
Me and my wife, we didn't ask the kids at that time.
The kids were young, I suppose.
The kids were very young, yeah. We just had to feed them on the airplane, otherwise the kids traveled very, very well. So the decision was reinforced with 19 years of data.
Yeah.
And to those who are listening to us today, you don't have to wait for 19 years of data. I'm telling you today,
Mhm.
just create the vision in your mind and take small steps. Before we moved to Armenia, we actually came here as a family for 1 month, doing like a trial run. Put the kids to kindergarten. Of course, we didn't do any work, me and my wife, except for waiting for the kids to finish kindergarten. But we kind of lived through the paces. So whatever is someone's comfort zone of how to move things forward, that's what should be done. But start the process.
Now, keeping in mind starting the process, can you tell us a little bit about Birthright Armenia and how it could serve as that bridge?
Before we go ahead, it's just interesting about the family. I just want to find out if, I think the listeners will be interested as well. Were there any times that, you felt during those years that, oh, have I done the right decision?
Never! Was that too loud? Sorry, I hope I didn't start on the listeners. No, but seriously, never. Because this was a very real move. It's like asking someone moving from Beirut to France, did you ever regret the decision at some point that you moved? There are days that will go well, days that don't go well. It's a challenge here in Paris, challenge there in Marseille. For us, I was honking at 2 cars driving over to the podcast this morning. It's normal, it's real life. And we approach it in very real terms and not this emotional and over-emotional and hyper-emotional approach. And that's what makes it work.
Mhm.
We approached Los Angeles that way, Los Angeles worked. We approach Armenia that way, Armenia works.
Yeah.
If you're hyper-emotional and unrealistic, nothing works and life becomes miserable.
I don't think we as Armenian people are emotional, but, that's a...
No, we're never emotional, right?
I think our decisions as well, they come, to move to Armenia, was not emotional. I think
Not emotional at all.
Yeah, it was just something that we had to do. I think it was a national belief that, from young age, we had that dream that we want to live in Armenia, we want to live in Artsakh, we want to live in what we call, homeland at the end of the day. I think as diaspora Armenians, we always dream of the homeland. And I think we found it, in different places, but we found it, yeah, absolutely.
And the part about making the move to Armenia not emotional is also correct. There's the emotional part that drives it. I wouldn't leave Los Angeles with my family to move to China.
Mm-hmm. Or Gibraltar, for example.
What is that?
Place, Gibraltar.
Or Gibraltar. But moving to Armenia does have that emotional part to it. But once, that part plays its role and you make a decision, then everything else has to flow very dispassionately, very realistically,
natural.
Very grounded, very natural, yeah.
So now I think we can get a little bit about Birthright before
we
getting
forgot
into
about
some
Birthright.
serious topics.
Birthright is that stepping stone. Birthright Armenia allows people to, first of all, see Armenia as a real place. Number 2, see Armenia as a real place, not as a 10-day tourist. See Armenia as a place of possibilities, opportunities, realities, all of it. And I always tell the volunteers, look at all sides of Armenia. You have to see everything. And you have to be able to embrace all of it. embrace all of Armenia, including all the challenges, all the beauties, all of it together. That's the formula of success.
Real quick, just I think this is very important for our listeners. Can you just tell us how many alumni and from how many countries we have participants? I think that's a very important fact for people to know.
About 2,900 alumni from, I think the count is maybe 57 countries.
And how many, I guess, repatriates too? Like how many from the, if there's a person?
Now 300 and I think 20 alumni live in Armenia post volunteering, and that number has grown over the years because of the willingness of participants to look at Armenia as a place to live in, and also because of the opportunities in Armenia, especially over the last 10,
But I
12
think
years.
Birthright does have specific resources and help too. If a volunteer comes and their volunteer period is done, if they are interested in moving to Armenia, Birthright will help them with that relocation and that opportunity, right? So that's definitely fuel to more repatriates coming to Armenia.
Yeah, I think, I'm not, I know the program from research and, also from my friends that, that now live in Armenia. And I believe, the impact that it's giving and, the approach that it's taken over the years and etc. I think it helps a lot for participants and also in the repatriation process. I believe that, it's at, I think there's a you element as well that helps them. I think your personality helps those people to kind of come back and live in Armenia, want to give something back to Armenia. And I think that's important. I think that's important as people that, that come back to their homeland and want to be here and they want to invest in here, they want to give something back to the community and to Armenia.
The thing about Birthright is that it's an open platform. People come to internships, some people come with the motivation of building their resumes, do serious professional internship. Why do it in London? Why not do it in Armenia? And we facilitate. You don't have to know anyone, you don't have to make any connections yourself. Our program arranges all of that for you. And for someone who says, I'm looking at opportunities to stay here, live here, return here in the future, we offer the support in the entire spectrum. People know no one when they come to Armenia, they just land at the airport, we pick them up. 5 years later, 3 years later, 10 years later, what they're doing in life and how can we help encourage to keep Armenia as part of their lives. That's what we offer. And the choice is always to each individual. Nothing is forced, nothing is mandated. We offer a maximum program of support, and whatever their decision is on an individual level, we support them in those decisions.
How long is the program, give us a few more details.
Yeah.
I think it would be interesting for the listeners as well. Just just to delve into the details, if you like, the mechanics of the Birthright as well.
So our minimum is 9 weeks, which is about 2 months. Maximum is 1 year. For those who have full-time jobs, we have the light version, which is 4 to 9 weeks. Our program offers incentives to participate, including reimbursement on airplane ticket costs, which can be, quite, which was
Los Angeles.
more. Los Angeles
That motivated me.
more expensive. We offer living with our local network of host families, which we select in our network, and we can pay for the cost of living with the host family.
So you can eat hash as well.
You can eat chashes. I wouldn't encourage it, but yes, that's a personal choice. So we encourage the immersion and the connection with the people. About a third come with no language knowledge or little Armenian language knowledge. We help them learn the language over here through our classes. We arrange the internships and the volunteering. We have lecture series. We do excursions. We have volunteers throughout the entire year. So it's not a summer program. People are here the entire year. We don't have start dates and end dates. People come when they want. People leave
There's
when they want.
flexibility.
Full flexibility.
That's
Full
amazing,
flexibility. As a matter of fact, because we don't have any fixed dates, people a lot of times extend their stays here in Armenia, which is something that we highly encourage. We have a base in Yerevan, we have a base in Gyumri, we have a base in Varadso. I mentioned host families. We offer them private bedroom, selected families from us, by us. But if someone says, I have a relative, sure, you do that. Someone says, I want to do a rental, sure, you do that. Full flexibility is the name of the game. It's
What
a
about
win-win
these families?
situation.
The host families, what about them? How do they accept people? Do you have reoccurring, like families that
Yeah.
always welcome?
We've had volunteers, we've had families who worked with us for 20 years.
Wow.
We've had magical families, which, I mean, it's called magical because a lot of people who lived in those houses, in that family, not just stayed here, but married other volunteers. I don't know, maybe they had a back door on the house or something. But yeah, and we're always recruiting families, we're always encouraging new families. Of course, we pay the families, we host our volunteers on a monthly basis, we pay the families. And for the volunteers, that peer-to-peer connection, understanding what the diaspora really is also very important because people know their side of. I know Los Angeles, I know Beirut, I know Montevideo. But what's Moscow? What's Australia? What's London? What's out there in Vladivostok? They don't know. I didn't know that people lived in Vladivostok. So I hear this quite often from the volunteers that their understanding of the diaspora grows and their understanding of themselves grows as Armenian. I thought I knew exactly what an Armenian was. I lived in Beirut. I went to kindergarten. All my friends were Armenian. Then they come over here. And they say, they just do one side of the coin. There's a complete other side of the coin, which I didn't understand. Armenia and people here. Now, my definition of being Armenian has become more wholesome.
And that's something I want to ask because now we spoke about Birthright, which I really appreciate because I feel like a lot of our listeners are always going to be looking for avenues of how to come to Armenia. But what are some of the challenges that these participants face? But also, what are some challenges as repatriates that you've seen or you've experienced maybe yourself in living in Armenia?
By the way, I'll also add that Birthright Armenia is specific to those of a certain age range, 21 to 32, of Armenian background. For those who don't fit that age range, there's the Armenian Volunteer Corps, our partners. So even the older people, even retirees with a lot of experience, come invest a month of that here in Armenia. Challenges become, for those learning the language, it's like going to any country and learning the language.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. Challenge learning the bus routes. New job site, integrating with the job site. It's a challenge that anyone faces going to any country. So the whole notion of the word challenge, if you look at it negatively, it becomes negative. If you look at it in a positive way, it's a growth experience. It makes you more mature. And people actually do mature because they're out of their comfort zone, in another country, and they're developing themselves.
Very good. I mean, that was definitely one of my challenges. Just even though I'm Armenian, there was definitely a sense of culture shock just because I came from a very different background, and then when I came to Armenia, I was exposed to a very different type of Armenians and a different type of Armenian culture, and just integrating into that society, I feel like is a big challenge, but also it takes a level of understanding to persist through it. Because there are certain people that reject it, there are certain people that thrive and survive through that, and it's all about your attitude towards it and your willingness to contribute to that. Because it's with that, whatever you call it, coordination, cooperation is how you may develop as an individual, that you're willing to contribute to your homeland and participate in its development. Because one of the biggest things that I remember from orientation, and this is the only thing that stuck to mind, Sevan, like I'm not saying it in a bad or good way, but
if anything stuck in your mind for 10 years.
And I swear I've used the same terminology when trying to talk to Armenia-related programs to youth in the diaspora. Armenia is never a charity case, as you may have mentioned it yourself. Armenia is just the avenue, the opportunity, or the place where you're going to contribute to its development. You have to be part of Armenia getting better. Absolutely. You're not looking at Armenia from the top as some form of something you feel bad about, where you need to come and give your 2 cents or like donate in a sense. That's the wrong attitude, and with that attitude, you may not you may fail in terms of integrating and just being a part of the everyday society, and I feel like that really stuck with me as one of the orientation. I know I'm part of Birthright orientations right now just because of that that meeting. So I'm very grateful for that, because that was 2016, now it's 2025, and I feel like it's just thinking about that has shaped how I want to live my day-to-day lifestyle.
Because one of the things that, for me, for example, when I was in Artsakh, every day I go, es Londonici, es Artsakh. That's what they used to tell to me. This is not London, this is Artsakh. To kind of come back to the realities on the ground. Managing the expectations, if you like. Going back to the first bits that we talked about. One of the talks that you had in Dubai, when I saw you actually do the talk, it was that Armenia is not a charity case. You need to contribute. And I think taking it from there is basically what I believe, I think it'd be interesting. It's like, what role do the repatriates play in the development in Armenia? I think that would be interesting for our listeners to understand, because I know, for example, what role I played, during my time in Artsakh, and I know the changes that I brought, at least in my, in my office, and then later on in the state minister's office and etc. Because I kind of changed the way that they worked and everything. But I believe that every diaspora in Armenia that has come and has participated in Birthright has brought a bit of change with them. And it's not because diaspora and Armenians are better. It's just because the way of thinking is different. And we're brought up in different challenges, in different realities. And then we come back to Armenia and we kind of bring something with us. And once we contribute to the realities of Armenia, I think that brings a bigger change.
The way this relates to people listening to us, there's a huge Armenian global population, and if we look at the puzzle that we need to build, 20% of the puzzle pieces are in Armenia. 80% of the puzzle pieces are not in Armenia. We need to bring more of those puzzle pieces to Armenia to build the puzzle.
Yeah.
Every person has a part. It doesn't matter what color you are. If you're in the edge, you're in the middle, you're in the corner, you're a puzzle piece. Right now, we're missing a lot of puzzle pieces still, and that's you sitting out there as a puzzle piece. If you make this, not this dramatic, I have to leave my life. I don't look at it that way. I have to leave my life and my comfort and my income and my pension and my, yes. You put things, on a scale, you weigh it out. There's a pro and con to everything. Now, Armenia needs to be built. You're either part of it or you're not. It's enough of being emotional. I'm sad, I'm happy, I'm depressed, I'm disillusioned, I'm angry, I'm lost. Let's get real. You're a piece of the puzzle. Come start with a program like ours, Birthright Armenia, Armenia Volunteer Corps. Come explore. We're a program of support. You don't have to make any drastic decisions. Take small steps. But you're definitely an important part of building this country. We just have to get very serious. We're not serious enough about Armenia. We take it for granted. We have a country of about 35 years of independence now. Before that, we had 2 years of independence in 1918. Highly important, but very short. And before that, we had 900 years of nothing.
Yeah.
Ottoman Empire, Persian Empire, Russian Empire, and we know what happens when you're not in control. We have the longest state now, but in 1,000 years. No one understands it. We're just living life around the world as if, everything's fine. And it isn't fine, because there's a lot of challenges here that needs people's participation. So we just have to get, people involved.
And I think, however, I think we have just time for a few questions left, but I really wanted to conclude with the following. I think it's important to be mindful that right now, just the situation of Armenia, whether it's things getting more expensive, which is happening globally, the geopolitics in the region and abroad, things that relate to Armenia, but also things that are happening in other countries that are affecting Armenia.
I think after 2020,
After the odds of war,
everything has been complicated, if you like,
Now, these are, I think, important factors as to people would have in their decision to move to Armenia right now. And then, to be honest, that's made personally my job harder to convince others to move to Armenia. I can only imagine what you as country director of a program that focuses on this. So I feel like this was very important to discuss because we have a lot of people that may follow us that are in our circles who see what we do, see us being in Armenia, but also they're reading up on what's going on in current events. They're seeing that, is this guy crazy or how is he doing this despite these difficult conditions?
I'm getting difficulties in convincing Armenians to move from one region to Syunik. So how are you convincing them to move to Armenia?
What do we tell those people? What do we advise those people?
Yeah, well, the example that I like to use is when there's a challenge, you don't abandon the challenge. You have to go and solve the challenge. If your relative is ill, if your son, your daughter, your parent, your sibling, your brother, sister, they're sick and they're ill, they need assistance. You don't run away. That's when you focus on it more. Armenia now, I'm not saying Armenia is ill. Armenia has challenges. And Armenia, therefore, you need to be closer to it now, more now than 15 years ago. So you're either serious about your relative or you're not serious about your relative. With your relative, you don't abandon them. You take them to the hospital, to the doctor, checkups, all that stuff. Treat Armenia the same way. If you're serious about Armenia, you treat it the same way. If you're just looking at it as an emotional place that you like the football team or you don't like the football team, or it's a nice tourism place every 15 years, or when you have a family, your kid will be baptized there, but nothing else is real about it, then we're gonna have more difficulties, filling the puzzle and solving the challenge. When the challenge is greater, your need is greater. You have to look at it that way, not look at it from the other perspective. That's what we do wrong, because we approach it emotionally. When someone in your family is sick, yeah, there's an emotional part, but you're very practical. Call the doctor, second opinion, hospital, that one, checkup. You're very real about it. You're not emotional. With Armenia, we get stuck in the emotion. Oh, what happened?
Okay, so how do you see the future?
The future is in our hands. That's how I see the future.
Mm-hmm.
We solve our problems, we have excellent future. We don't solve our problems, we don't have an excellent future. So
where do you base it? Like, what's the, okay, that's a great statement. Everything is in our hand, but what's that?
It's in our hands. Asfalt mezile kids, asfalt mezile khert lazım var besmek var.
Asfalt zabar become.
No, true. I'm on board with all the statements. I'm on board with all the statements, but I just think it's important to keep in mind when you make those actions to move to Armenia or contribute.
Forget moving to Armenia.
You're right.
Mentally repatriate to Armenia. Make Armenia's security, make Armenia's success, make Armenia's longevity a life priority for yourself. You're in Los Angeles, you're in China, it doesn't matter. Okay. Our founder, Edil Abzanyan, she doesn't live in Armenia. She has to repatriate to Armenia. She has Birthright Armenia, she founded this organization, she funds it fully, she funds 5-6 other organizations. She's very invested in this country. It's a mental attitude. So, I can't leave to Armenia. Doesn't matter.
That's very
Mentally,
important.
you decide, I'm committing to Armenia's success and longevity and security. You commit, now you're serious, you'll find your path moving forward. If that includes repatriation, I'll greet you at the airport.
I think it's something mentally, culturally, and from a place of principle.
Yeah.
All of those need to be aligned and set where you're constantly thinking about what you said, essentially. And I think that shift needs to happen.
Yeah, but you see, there's certain mechanisms that they need to be in place to be able to accommodate that as well. Okay, the decision to move is not enough. I think Birthright brings all that together. Okay, even for a short time, for you to kind of be able to get a taste as to the understanding, as to the difficulties as well, because it's not only an understanding, it's also the difficulties when they come. Put away the drama, the drama that follows, oh, I'm going, and all that emotional stuff. Be a realist at the end of the day, understand as to what comes with coming back to Armenia, because at the end of the day, look, LA, London, we all had a different kind of lifestyle. Back in the 2000s, a different kind of LA. In 2023, 2024, different kind of LA, different kind of London, and etc. We came here, we all came here, and we all, put aside the expectations because we kind of knew what we were getting at the end of the day. And we're all back here, living here. Again, putting away the drama and just knowing that our place is here. Be at what we call hiding at the end of the day. But, I think putting away all that, for our listeners, what message do you have? What message do you have to Armenians worldwide?
Get serious. Get serious. Get serious with Armenia. Get serious now. There's no more time to lose. Stop being a spectator. Armenia is not football on the field and you're in the stands eating popcorn and watching a movie. We have this baby of a country, 35 years in the human timeline is 2 minutes. And we're not treating it seriously. If you had a baby born to you, you would treat it seriously. You would tend to it. You would care for it. You wouldn't ask anyone else, what do I do? You take care of it. In Armenia, you do it the same way. With Armenia, you do it the same way. You don't ask others, what can I do? That means you're not serious. The first thing you have to do is get serious. When you get serious, you'll find the answers.
At 35 years old, it's not my baby anymore.
It's an absolute baby. It's an absolute baby. We're still screwing things up. We're still pooping in our pants. We're still crying. We're still throwing up.
Yeah.
We're making a lot of mistakes.
Throwing our toes out of our pram, as we've seen numerous times.
So the country is a baby and it needs a lot of attention. And you asked about the message to everyone is to be serious. If you decide not to be serious, then you know what? Be honest and say, I'm not serious about Armenia. And then disconnect yourself, and okay, that's fine. But if you really care about Armenia, stop crying, stop being nervous and angry and depressed, because you're making yourself useless. We don't eat uselessness. Puzzle needs to be filled. Be serious, come fill the puzzle. I'm not saying move here, I'm saying be serious with Armenia. If you're serious, you're gonna find your path. Everyone finds a path. But we have no more time to waste. This is not a joke, this is not a game, and this is not a TV show. It's not Netflix. You can't turn it on, turn it off whenever you want. This is full-time being played out in front of everyone's eyes, living here, living outside. We have to get this done.
Thank you, Sevan, for joining us, and I think that concludes our episode today. Unless you have any additional remarks, for all our followers, make sure to follow us on our website, on our social media platforms at Tech Podcast GetAM, and all our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Evanen. Make sure to support, follow, and see what we're up to next.
Well, Sevan, amazing. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. I believe the messages that you gave, I think they're important, and every single Armenian should think, Birthright or any other, different programs out there, they should join and they should come back, because every Armenian deserves to be in their homeland at the end of the day.
And good luck to the podcast. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Take care.